Hi, I'm Brittany Rizzo, and welcome back to My Only Friends. It has been a hot minute. I was feeling very excited and back on a roll with the podcast, and as it does, life came at my family and I pretty fast. My mom was in the hospital for about 7 weeks, and it was an incredibly challenging and scary time. And I'm happy to report she is home and doing so much better. And I want to thank everyone who reached out, sent love, and helped out in so many ways, especially my dear friend Chadwick, who held it down in my apartment the entire time and sent me videos and checked my mail and is always so supportive. And he'll probably cringe as he's listening to this, but I just wanted to publicly thank him because he means so very much to me, as do all of my friends. And my sister, I don't know how I would have gotten through any of this without her. Speaking of my sister, Brianna, she is how I know today's guest, Kait Hanson, as they went to Penn State together. Kait Hanson is a Washington, D.C. based reporter and photographer available for freelance assignments. Her work has appeared in Vanity Fair, Travel and Leisure, Today, Time, CNN, NBC News, People Magazine, and more. She is also the co-founder of Communicate, a lifestyle website and brand. Through this platform, she has partnered with more than 100 national and international brands, professional sports teams, government officials, nonprofits, and small businesses, helping each one grow its voice and reach through powerful storytelling and digital strategy. Kait's strong foundation in writing remains at the heart of her success, both professionally and personally. It's hard to say which Friends episode this reminds me of because, Kait has never seen Friends. I would say it reminds me of the one where Joey and Rachel swap books, The Shining and Little Women, because they're trying to get the other person to enjoy it or to broaden their horizons. And that is what I have been trying to do with Kait since this interview. I've sent her homework of which Friends episodes that she must watch. And you'll hear me say in this interview that this kind of feels like our first date because Kait and I have been pretty close friends through social media, and we've bonded over our love of our dogs and our health and just life in general. And it was so nice to finally sit with her and talk with her. We talk a lot about pet loss and grief and our love of our dogs who are like our children and how cooking grosses both of us out. I hope you enjoy my conversation with Kait Hanson. This feels like our first date.
I know. How's it
We've
going?
been It's good. We've been like pen pals for so long and we've never met, and now we're finally meeting.
I know we're meeting and I'm being recorded.
But you are being recorded, so you'll be able to see what your first dates are like back to you.
That's crazy. That's crazy. What time is it over there?
It's 11.
Oh, it's nice. Like half of
Where
our day.
you're in DC.
DC. Yeah. So it's 2 o'clock here. We've been having the worst rainstorms and
Mm.
it is finally sunny today. And I'm just like a new person when the sun is out.
I got to work the other day and it was sunny outside and I told my boss I'm like 40% nicer when the sun is out.
Fully same. Fully same. Gosh, I know. It's something that I never it didn't impact me like in college. Obviously, I went to Penn State and I endured like the most horrible of winters. But then we were in
Mhm.
Hawaii for over 10 years. And so I don't know, I just got really used to being in the sun all the time. And then we moved here and it's definitely not sunny all the time.
I don't know how people do it. Like honestly, like I have goosebumps right now and I'm in LA. It's like 65 degrees and I'm shivering. Like I can't do the gloom every day. Like I don't mind the 65 degrees, but if it was sunny outside, that's what I enjoy. But the gloom every single day, I'm like, I don't need the outside world to reflect what my brain looks like.
1000%. There's no better metaphor for like depression and like just internal sadness than when the sky is white.
Yeah, I agree. So what did you do today now that the sun was out?
I mean, I was outside in my garden, which is just like super therapy for me, just like tending to my flowers. The deluge of rain was both good and bad for my yard. But I love seeing everything in blooms. Like my hydrangeas are blooming, my roses are blooming. It's just therapeutic to like go out there and be in nature.
Yeah, so you don't have allergies.
I mean, I do. And that is I in like April, my car, which is black, looked green for probably
Oof.
like 6 weeks. And Northern Virginia just gets like such a thick layer of pollen. And being outside at all is almost impossible. But this time of year is like a little bit better for me, especially because it just rained. So I feel like things have been like tamped down a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but when we sort of get full throttle into summer, they'll be back again.
Yeah, I literally like when I go for a walk, I'm like, I'm like, oh, these flowers are so pretty. Like, cannot breathe.
You're like, when the cherry blossoms bloom here, my whole face gets, I mean, and they've been blooming in like March, so my whole face just gets like congested and the sinus pressure, and it's
Mhm.
just a good time.
Yeah, like I've literally like there was one time a friend of mine brought me over flowers because I helped them out with something and I was like I am notorious for being known like I don't like when people give me flowers. I don't like it. Because like when you're giving me something I have to take care of and
Mm.
then it's like they spill everywhere and then they start to smell at a certain point then I can't like I literally like had the flowers in my house and like 2 hours later had to take a Benadryl and I gave them to my neighbor. I was like just you enjoy these, like I can't do it. It's so bad.
That's so funny. I do love fresh flowers. I just feel like I'm not as good as taking care of them when they're in the house. So like the idea
Yeah.
of like retrim the stems and change out the water, I'm not as diligent about that as I am when they're outside. I don't know. I
Yeah,
guess
but this leads me to like also you do cooking recipes on the internet. Like you will show yourself cooking. And I'm just like, I so badly wish I was that type of like I can't tell you how many saved recipes I have and how many times I've saved the things that you do. And I'm always like, that looks so good. And like it'll just never happen for me. Like I'm not a gardener. I don't cook. Like I cook the same thing every day. And when I say cook, I mean I thaw out frozen rice in a pan. Like I am not a cook at all. And I always look at your recipes and I'm like, God, that looks so good. I wish I was that type of girl. But then I listened to Michelle Obama on Amy Poehler's podcast and she's like, I don't cook either. I don't need to. And I was like, well then same, cool, it's fine. I'm okay.
I mean, look, don't come to me and ask for like me to do any kind of math. Like I have moved on. Don't
Yes.
ask me to paint your nails. I cannot. There is a long list of things that where I do not thrive. But cooking is one of those things, and it's kind of always been one of those things, right? Like I remember growing up cooking with my mom a lot and cooking in college. And, there was a year where I lived in an apartment with like three of my best friends, and we had finally had a kitchen. It was like a novelty after living in the dorms for 3 years. And so, then I moved right away after college to Detroit, where I was just like on my own. And I think cooking felt a little bit like a comfort, like a creature comfort thing. I was just like, not only do I have to graduate college, but I have to like leave my state and like everybody I love and just be pushed full throttle into the adult world. But cooking sort of like helped me stay connected to like my family and just
Mhm.
like it was that constant for me. And, same when I got married shortly after that. My husband's in the military, so when he'd be gone, cooking was just like a way to, I don't know, just a constant in my life. It's like
Yeah.
watching my face, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love trying new things. I am kind of a picky eater though, which surprises people.
That does surprise me because I see you eat a lot of meat. And that is my biggest thing is like I will never touch raw meat. Like there is no way in hell that's happening for me.
So people laugh, like some of my videos, you'll notice that I put on like a plastic glove when I'm cooking meat, like particularly like
Yeah.
mixing up meatballs or touching raw chicken. Like there are some things that I just cannot do. And I really have this sort of like unjustified fear of mixing up like a meatball or hamburger and getting like the meat underneath my fingernails. Like I just I can't do it. I just it's not it has never happened to me, but I wear a glove when I do it because I the thought of having to go through I don't feel like I could get my nails clean enough. Like I couldn't cut enough nail off, I couldn't scrub hard enough. And I always felt kind of a little bit crazy about it, but then I posted a video online about making meatballs where I put the glove on and I use like an ice cream scoop to get the meatballs out because I also, even with the glove on, I don't want to like roll them. I don't want them near my fingernails. And a really good friend of mine who's a photographer was like, I think my brain chemistry was just altered, like seeing you put that glove on because I stopped making meatballs for my family because I don't want to feel that meat on my
Yeah.
nails. And I was like, you know what? Like I felt so vindicated.
Oh, when I used to cook chicken, I don't think I've cooked chicken in like 5 years because it got so bad. I would put a mask on, I would put gloves on, I'd have to blast music. Like I could not think about it. It was so awful. And I'm like, people are like, wow, you've lost so much weight. I'm like, yeah, because I literally get so grossed out by food that I cannot cook it. It is so gross. And even when I'm home and my family's cooking, I am like, oh my God, don't show me that. Like, please do not show me that. Don't show me the before. I only want to see the after. Like, and I really only eat chicken now when I go home because, and I used to like pay my old roommate. I would give her like $20 if I got a rotisserie chicken to like pull it apart for me. Cause I was like, I'm not, this is barbaric.
It is, there's definitely a little bit of ick that I feel, especially when I cook meat. And I don't, I mean, I cook a lot of chicken, turkey,
Hmm.
pork. Like I'll grill pork a lot. I will grill a lot, period, because the idea of cooking meat in the house, not my favorite.
Yeah.
I just, I feel like it lingers. I don't know. I also don't eat any like oysters, clams, anything that like where I have to dig them out of their house.
Oh God.
No, it's gonna be a no for me.
You know why I don't eat oysters? And because this is why like I have a whole podcast about how impressionable TV is in movies. In Alice in Wonderland, the walrus eats all the baby oysters and it traumatized me for life. That like that's all I can think about is the mama looking for her baby oysters and it like I'll cry right now. It's terrible.
That's how I felt about, so I grew up in Pennsylvania, and hunting is a very popular thing. We always had off
Hmm.
school the first day of deer season. And I had many friends and like people that I loved that went hunting, but that scene in Bambi, and I was I couldn't. I can't.
Yeah, I think I've seen Bambi once and that was enough for me. I was like, never again.
Isn't
But
it
I
interesting?
always think about Chandler because Chandler is always like, yeah, it was very sad when they stopped drawing the deer.
I think sometimes I look back on like the shows that we watched as kids and I'm like, that's weird. Like, or that's traumatizing.
Oh, I mean, I just got a new car and I had been driving a Ford Focus for 16 years.
Wait,
And so I've been driving the same car. I named her Bridget, and everybody knows Bridget. Everybody would ask about Bridget, but I'm like, why did I personify this car so much? But I'm like, because of these Disney movies. Like, I fully think that like she has feelings, and when I had to say goodbye to Bridget, I cried so hard. I sat in my car and I was like, thank you for everything you've done for me. Thank you for always getting me home to Lila and Maxie. Like, I was a mess. The car dealer, he was probably like, what is wrong with this girl? I was like, do people do this a lot? And he's like, yeah.
He's like, well, define a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm like, these movies really made us think that like these inanimate objects had severe, legit feelings, and now it's affected my whole adulthood for sure.
I don't think you're alone in that. I think that a lot
Yeah.
of times, like, we put human emotions on things that don't have human emotions.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
guilty of it. Like, I do it with my dog all the time. I'm always like, oh, he's so sad. But it's like, he's not sad. He's just not smiling.
I mean, same. That's what people probably think when they look at me. They're like, God, she looks so miserable. And I'm like, no, I just don't have a shit eating grin on my face.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just my face. Thank you.
Literally just my face. Thank you so much. Well, let's talk about how we know each other or how we've become familiar with each other. And so you went to college with my sister. I didn't know you were from Pittsburgh.
I'm not from Pittsburgh. I'm from Central PA.
Okay.
But yeah, we both went to Penn State, and
Hmm.
I met her. And honestly, I think we may have had a freshman class because we were both College of Communication. So I'm pretty sure that we had a freshman class together, although I could be wrong. But your sister is just like a staple of my college experience, which I can't imagine Penn State without her. So
Hmm.
it's sort of embarrassing to admit that I don't remember the first time I met her. Oh, well, and it's almost like I hate to even admit this, but college was so much longer ago than I care to admit that some things just getting hazy, if you will.
I mean, if you did college right, you probably wouldn't remember most of it.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
So,
And then I met you, I think, I mean, I've never even met you in person.
no, we've never actually like spoken before, which is crazy, but I feel like I've known you since you've met my sister. And I mean, we just have so much in common and like have connected so much. And like, I literally wrote down on my notes for today, like, in the past year, I think even though we've never met, you have been the person who has made me feel the most seen, which
Oh,
is, yeah, I'll cry thinking about it.
I know. I'm like, oh gosh, when am I gonna cry first?
Yeah, yeah, literally. Because I think that's just like the most, that's what we all just want, is for somebody to recognize what we're going through, recognize our pain, and not try to talk you out of it either. Just be like, I see you and I know and I'm sorry. And like that, you don't really get that. You have so many people try to talk you out of those feelings or the look on the bright side attitude. And sometimes you just need somebody to be like, it fucking sucks. I'm with you in it though.
For sure. And I think that there's a really important aspect of that, especially when it comes to grief, is that sometimes there's not a silver lining.
Mm.
Sometimes you just there's not a happy part of it. There's not like a lesson to be learned. Like sometimes you just go through something really hard and you can just look at it and say, that was really shitty. And that's what it
Mhm.
is, because it's not a lesson, and there's no silver lining, and there's nothing to interpret about it. And it just exists as something really horrible that happened to you. And
Right.
you aren't the same person anymore. And so I think there is a lot of people, and I don't want to overgeneralize here at all, because look, we are all going through something at all times, I feel like. Um, but a lot of people want you to look on the bright side or look for the lesson or the silver lining. I don't know. And sometimes it just isn't there.
Yeah. It's definitely in like it's so many different ways of grief, whether it's the life you thought you were going to have, or the loss of a pet, or the loss of a person, or the loss of a job, the loss of a friend. Like there's so many different ways that grief seeps into our lives. And sometimes you can look at it and be like, well, that taught me love, the most insane amount of love I've ever experienced in my life. But then, like, then it's not fair for it to be taken away. Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck? What's the reason?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I really like how you said that grief exists in so many different situations because I think a lot of times what people envision when you say you're grieving is they envision a funeral and people dressed in black and the law, like a loss. But loss can be so many different things, right? Like a lot of my life in recent times has been both a physical loss and a loss of a future that I thought I would have. And I think that a lot of times people want like a tangible. So they want a
Right.
funeral or they want to know, oh, who died or what. But sometimes it's just you're not going to get what you thought you would out of life. And there's grief there too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even with like you said, like it's like even if it's a job or like the career path you're on and you have to make a change, or if it's all, I mean, how do I phrase this? Because, like, for me, the grief is just always there. I mean, for people who don't know what we're talking about, like, we both lost our dogs to cancer. We both, like, my dog is my child. Like, they're not, I'm never gonna understand anybody who's like, it's just a dog. Or when people are like, oh, well, how old was she? I want to be like, well, how old are you? Okay, well, you've spent enough time on Earth. You should go now too. I hate that question so much. Oh my God, it drives me insane. How old was she? What does it matter? Like, if your sister died, I'm not going to say, well, how old was she? Okay, well
Yeah.
then that makes sense. You know, like it's so strange, and nobody like. I guess I just want to say it. Like, don't ask people that. Yeah, like just don't ask people that.
I think too, people get caught off guard and they don't know what to say. So things just come out. And
Come out.
I've learned to offer people a lot of kindness in that moment because I think sometimes I was probably in that position at one point in my life where somebody
Mm-hmm.
said something to me that they were being very vulnerable about and sharing and I maybe said the wrong thing, and
Right.
in that moment, I really probably should have gotten an earful from that person.
Yeah.
And maybe I was shown kindness. So I do really try to just meet people where they are. And when they say
Mm-hmm.
those things, and it might be hurtful to me in the moment, but just have that understanding that they don't understand. And that's not
Right.
their fault. That's not their
Yeah.
fault. And they're trying, right?
Yeah. I think on the flip side of that, it's always so hard because, like, in one hand, I have that mentality, and on the other hand, I'm like, they'll probably learn once they go through a massive grief. But I'm like, why does it take that for people to learn that? You know?
I don't know if we have
What's
time
that?
to like get into all that on a podcast about why people are the way they are.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. Do you have 5 hours? Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because like, you know, there's days where it feels like it just happened this morning, and there's days where it feels like it's been years since I've seen her, and then there's days where the grief is quiet and there's days when the grief is loud, and none of them are easy days at all. Like it's literally just always in the back of my mind. And how do you cope with that?
It's hard. So I think, so for me, it was, and I guess maybe I should sort of share
Yeah.
what my timeline and my story has been. But my husband and I lived in Hawaii for 10 plus years, and we had been unknowingly drinking jet fuel, which prompted a move to Washington, D.C. And we had also been going through a lot of infertility issues. And so we moved in December 2021. In June of 2022, I had my fourth consecutive miscarriage. And we also found out at that point that I couldn't have children. Um, and 6 weeks after that, our dog Bill was diagnosed with cancer. And he battled cancer for almost 14 months, like a freaking warrior. And it was a learning experience for me. In that time, I also left my dream job. I worked at today.com with an amazing team of people. Um, but I was a parenting reporter and it had really taken a toll on me. And
Mm-mm.
I needed to step back from that. And it broke my heart because it was my dream job.
Yeah.
And I was able to spend that final summer being Bill's full-time caregiver. And I mean, he had cancer treatment every week. As you know, it's a full-time job taking care of them. And I don't, gosh, I would do it again in a heartbeat. But we lost him that October of 2023. And we had our second dog, Judy. She carried me through, gosh, the whole thing, everything, all the things in life. She was our first dog, got her right after my husband came home from Afghanistan. So she had been through, separations and big moves and big life events and all the infertility and the big move and losing Bill. And she was diagnosed with cancer 6 months after we lost Bill.
Mm.
It was a very, very aggressive cancer, histiocytic sarcoma, and we lost her in October of 2024. Um, Almost a year to the day that we lost Bill, which is just insane. And part of me thinks like she just missed her best friend, and she just needed
Mhm.
to get to him. And so um our life is not dull. My life
Right.
is a trauma train. But you know, at some point my therapist, who I love dearly, said to me, you know, Kate, you have to let the grief in
Mm.
because if you don't let her in, you're going to spend the rest of your life trying to keep her out. And when you
Mm.
sit with your emotions and when you process them and when you let yourself feel, there is freedom in that. And it's hard. Oh gosh, it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it
I
is.
mean, it is very hard. I wish I had a better word for hard because it's more than that and it's not as simple as four letters. But I think that, you know, it, it is so many things. It's exhausting and it's frustrating and it's complicated and you can't just put it into one thing because it's many things, just like grief exists in many forms, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question or not.
No, I mean, it does. There's really just like coping with grief. It's one of those things where you kind of just have to walk beside it and like let it be what it's going to be for that day. And also, like, I've just become very honest on days where it's bad, where I'm like, I just really can't stop thinking about her. Or anticipatory grief is also a terrible feeling because I I don't think I've ever relaxed. Like after Maxie passed, like I still have, I've been, my shoulders have been up to my ears because now I'm just like, oh my God, Lila. Like everything in the world revolves around Lila right now. And I don't want to put that energy on her. But it's also like, she's 16 and a half. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I love her more than anything in the world. I can't imagine any like and like, Judy was for you.
Yeah,
Like she's gotten me through literally like she got me through Maxie, who would get me through her. But it's also like, a friend of mine said like worrying is negative prayer. And so I try to remember that. It's like, worrying is wishing really hard for the thing you don't want. So I'm like, you know
yeah,
what? And there are days where I feel Maxie so present with me. And you and I send each other all our videos all the time of like the signs that people get and the way they come back and say hello to us. And I really do think that they are still, when we are vibrating at a higher frequency, they can reach us better. So that is the one thing that helps me get out of it is like if I'm in this low vibe and like deep depression and sadness, like she can't come down to that level. She's free and she's happy. So like I have to get to her level somehow if I want to feel connected to her, which this probably sounds so woo-woo to people, but I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care.
No, I stopped caring, honestly, what people thought about me a very, very long time ago because, one, people are always going to have something to say about who you are and what you do.
Hmm.
And if you're not living for yourself in, you know, at the vibration that sets you up for the most success, then what are you even doing?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't matter how it looks to anybody else as long as you're feeling good. Like, obviously, you're not being a dick to other people and not just like causing chaos in the world, but like it's life is short.
It is, it's too short for all of us. And I think, I mean, weirdly, putting myself out there on the internet has helped with that.
Hmm.
Because I'm able to connect with people who the amount of messages I get on a weekly basis that are, I followed Bill's story, or I followed Judy's story, or I followed your infertility story. That, people are like, it helped me cope with XYZ thing. And I'm like, you know what? Then if it helped one other person, that would have been enough. But I've gotten hundreds of DMs saying these things. So it's kind of like, you know what?
Hmm.
Not to be all like live, laugh, love, but maybe that was the whole point. Maybe
Right.
that was it. Maybe sharing my story and being open about, fuck, this is all really hard and sad and frustrating and exhausting. And I don't want any other person to have to walk this road, but damn it, if they do, I'm going to hold their hand. Like, it sucks and it's hard. And I think that culturally, we've sort of lost that along the way, especially on social media. And that kind of sucks, right? Like,
Hmm.
to just look at somebody in their struggles and be like, scroll. I think that that's kind
Yeah.
of like, ooh.
Yeah. Well, it gives us a false sense of connection. That's all social media does, is a false sense of connection. And like, I mean, how lucky are we that we acted upon our connection and we're like, we have a friendship now, you know what I mean? But not everybody does that. And it just feels like, oh, that's my social media bestie, you know? But like, I also know, and you were, again, one of the first people I reached out to that morning. And it was like, I was like, I need to talk to Kate. Like, never even met you. And I was like, and I do think like, I've said it before on this podcast, like I do think we go through certain things in life so that we could be of service to other people and hold their hand through that. And like the the grief and the hardships are really things that connect us to other people more, to have a deeper connection, to have more compassion to them. And it teaches us just like you really don't know what somebody else is going through. Because on the surface, people see me out having a good time, dancing with my friends, but half the time I'm like, I wonder what Maxie's doing. I wonder what Lila's doing. I wonder, like my mind is elsewhere and there's little glimmers of, true happiness that I get. And then I remember the reality and you're like, oh, okay. Like, so I think just knowing that like 90% of people in this world are feeling that way. So just be fucking nice.
Exactly. Well, and I also am a big believer in that, like, two things can be true at once, right? Like, you can be
Yes.
suffering immense heartache and also be able to find joy in like the smallest of things. And like, when I tell you smallest of things, I mean, like, let's go down onto like a very micro level. Like, I woke up today.
Mm-hmm.
That is because I feel, XYZ things. And then, it's like on my worst days, and my mom, my mom and my like best friends will tell you this, is like I do 15-minute increments. Like, okay, got to survive these next 15 minutes. Like, the days that my dogs died were some of the most heart-wrenching days of my life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that being able to survive those moments, I think your brain almost goes into autopilot and you don't process it until like, weeks later when you then start to feel all these things and you go into like survival mode, like what can I do? What can I do? And my mom always says like just 15-minute increments, just like focus on what is in front of you, what you're doing now. And listen, sometimes survival mode is what it is. You're just trying to
Yeah.
survive. But like, even if you're able to just be like, wow, my coffee really tastes good, or it's sunny out, or, you know, my skin looks nice today. Like, just like the littlest, tiniest things. Like, there is still so much joy. There is. And
Yeah.
listen, I have had some of the worst days of my life in the last 5 years. And I can still look back on them and say, how lucky am I? Like,
Right.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. 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 You never realize how strong you are until you're on the other side of it. And then sometimes I'm like, I can't believe I'm still here. Good for
Oh,
me.
fully, fully. I'm like, well, still here. See what tomorrow brings.
Literally. Also, I mean, talking about like the little things, good hair, good skin. Like your hair looks incredible. I keep thinking that. It's very Jennifer Aniston. Like your hair looks so good. So that's your win today.
I mean, it's, you know what it is? It's, I was outside and sweating. And it's like, I don't know if you
Perfect.
see the camera, it's like
It looks
curly.
great.
Thank you. Thank you. My
There
girl
was this
actually just moved to San Diego. She's out in
oh,
California.
looks like you, Ted, and Dan need to come here.
I mean, maybe. I'm not about
I
flying
think
to get my hair done.
yeah. There was a quote I wanted to share with you before we move on from any topic of grief, which I'm sure it'll come back around in our conversation. But like for me, like I've been going to EMDR therapy. I actually have it today because I don't know if you've tried EMDR, done any of that, or know about it. But it just lessens the trauma around the event. It lessens the physical reaction isn't so strong to the event and kind of rewires your neural pathways to not be so triggered if it comes up. And that morning plays in my head a lot, almost every day. And I have to do exercises to just kind of be like, okay, this cannot affect me. And like it can't stop me from living my life today. And I was watching Kelsey Grammer in an interview, and he has dealt with a lot of loss and grief in his life. And he had a quote, and he said, "Spend time on the life you shared rather than the day you lost it." And I just thought that was so good because that's what I was doing. I was focusing on the day I lost it and how terrible it was, and not remembering the nearly 16 years of pure fucking bliss I had with Maxie. Like the most, whew, like just incredible. And we get so honed in on the really traumatic part of it that we forget all the love that was able to be brought into both of our lives. Like how lucky were Bill and Judy and Maxie, and how lucky were we that we got to experience all of that together. And like you just cannot forget that part of it.
Well, you got me. I'm finally crying. Um, yeah, you're so right. We had 7 years with Bill and 10 years with Judy, and that's, the love can't be quantified because they are they were amazing. Um, but to your point, it's very hard when you go through a traumatic ending with someone you love.
Mm-hmm.
Those moments do tend to play on a loop. And
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I'm certainly guilty of it too. One thing that sort of helps me, and this is maybe the same tactic that you use, is thinking about like the best memory I have of each of them rather than like the final moments that I had, I had with them. And it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Um, it's hard. uh,
I get it. I love you. I get it.
really hard. I held Judy's head in my hands. I just said, I'm gonna miss you until eternity,
Yeah.
and it's true. Um, she's been gone almost 7 months now, and life is different on the other side for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like that cheesy but so accurate quote, like, to be loved is to be changed. And it's true. It's just
Yeah,
so
and they,
true.
they also say that the one thing I think of is grief is love with nowhere to go,
Hmm.
or like you grieve because you loved, and there is a fine line. Like grief and love are they're sleeping with each other.
Now, was there like a certain, because, you know, people are looking for a survival guide almost. And it's
Yeah.
like, was there a certain, what show were you watching? What music were you listening to? What would pull you out of your brain for even just those 15 minutes to find some sort of comfort? Or was it writing? I mean, I want to point out that you are such an incredible writer, and like the poems that you've written and the things that you've posted, like you are an incredible writer. And I truly like every time you write something involving your feelings of loss or happiness or grief, like it's just so it strikes such a chord in me. Like I relate to it so deeply.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. um, Writing has been a huge outlet for me. Specifically writing about cancer in dogs. I've gotten the best opportunities to write for different outlets about cancer in dogs, innovations in cancer treatment in dogs, my experience with cancer in dogs. And so that has been therapeutic in a way I didn't really expect. Because you wouldn't think like focusing on the thing that took them from you would be beneficial, but in a weird way, it was cathartic because um, cancer blindsided me as a pet owner, and
Yeah.
it's the leading cause of pets, cats and dogs. So
Mhm.
it I'm not sure why it blindsided me. I don't know. I think it just wasn't on my radar. My dogs were very young. Uh, Bill was very young when he was diagnosed. He was 6. And
Mm.
so I guess it was just something I didn't think about. I don't know. Maybe that's very naive, but um, I felt really stupid actually. And looking back, I think that you don't know what you don't know. And
Mhm.
in some small way, if my writing can help inform people to just maybe be aware, these are the things to look for. These are the amazing innovations that are happening. Um, I would love to be a veterinarian, but I'm just not quite that smart. So instead, I use writing to sort of talk about the things that I didn't know. As
Yeah.
far as a grief guide, gosh, that's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, don't look at me. I'm making it up as I go.
I know. But is there a show? I mean, like for me, if I just know if I turn Friends on, everything is gonna be okay. Like I just have to. But it was interesting because after Maxie passed, like my show that I would really lay in bed and watch with Maxie and Lila was Gilmore Girls. And it took me a long time to be able to watch Gilmore Girls again. And even like the other day on Mother's Day, the theme song came up on my Spotify playlist and I was sobbing. I went to this Gilmore Girls event at the Warner Brothers lot, and right when I walked in, theme start the theme starts playing, crying my eyes out because I think of Maxie. And it's like it became really, but then, you know, I got over the hump and I watched it, and now when I hear that theme song, I think of her just like saying hi to me instead.
That's a sweet way to like think about it. So
Hmm.
during the day that both of my dogs died, they left this world listening to Chris Stapleton's Joy of My Life. And
Hmm.
for a long time, I could not listen to anything Chris Stapleton. I would hear it and I'd be like, nope. Like I would see it come up on the radio and I'd be like, nope, pass, bye. It didn't matter what it was. I couldn't listen to his music. And but now, just recently, like a month ago, um, Joy of My Life just came on the radio. And I mean, this is, if you're not a Chris Stapleton fan, that is not a new song. It is not, it's a popular song, but it's not one that would, I think, organically be on the radio. But it came
Hmm.
on and it was almost like a little bit of a hug. And I couldn't,
Hmm.
then it was like, because it had come onto the radio and not like my Spotify or anything like that, it felt like such a hug from the universe that I was just like, let it play. Of course, I'm driving and tears are streaming down my face. It was almost cathartic in a way. So
Hmm.
I'm happy to report I can listen to his music again. But it's
Yeah.
a recent development. I have a confession to make. I don't watch a ton of television. And I have a probably more disturbing to you confession beyond that. Are you ready for this?
Oh God,
I've
have you never seen Friends?
I've never watched Friends. I watched
Oh,
a small clip of it one time and I just remember being like, meh.
I I am like so shooketh.
I know, I know, I know. I am weird. I have another friend who loves Friends and she is unwell by the fact that
I am out of body right now. Like for how much we have in common, for you to never have seen Friends, I'm like, but but what do you mean? Like I don't understand.
it's not
It's like inescapable. Like it's on TV literally right now on like four different channels. Like it's inescapable. Like what do you mean?
It's not, I have no real excuse other than like, I mean, we had a TV growing up in my house and I have a TV now. I'm, I will watch like, I love White Lotus. I loved The Pit. Um, I, I'm a reader, I guess. I don't know. I don't have any excuses.
Oh my, I'm like about to transcribe a whole Friends episode so you could read it.
I mean, I would. I am obsessed with reading. I don't really do it as much as I would love to because I spend all day reading as a journalist, but um yeah, I love a deep dive. Like do not send me down a rabbit hole because I will go down into the hole and make it deeper. Like I love learning in general. I don't know, that it's maybe like a weird thing to say, but if somebody could be like, "Oh, I was just diagnosed with this rare disease," I'm like, "Don't mind if I do." Like fully down
Yeah.
the road.
Were you always like that? Like as a kid? Like what was the moment you were like, I want to be a writer? Like I know that I'm good at this.
I don't know that I'm that good at it. I
You
don't know,
know, you're good at Kate.
maybe that's imposter syndrome. I don't know if I ever had a moment that was like, I'm good at this. I still don't think that, but I loved to read. Like I would bring my mom books and beg her to teach me how to read. Like, and she's like, you
Hmm.
could barely walk, and you were like carting around books. Like, so that's always been something I've done. I actually
What's your
started.
favorite book?
I have many, but I love The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I think it's a historical fiction book, but it's so I'm prefacing that by saying it might not be for everybody if you don't really like historical fiction. I also love really like twisted psychological thrillers, like the most fucked up storylines you can imagine. I'm like, yes, give me more.
Wow, now we're finding our differences almost at the end of our date here.
I don't know if I'm gonna get invited back for a second date here, but I just, and you know what's weird is like, even in the depths of like depression and grief and all of that, I'm reading these books and my husband and my friends are like, Kate, like, you're going through a lot right now. Like, do we really think we should be reading the, and I'm like, just leave me alone. Let me enjoy
But
this.
do you almost think that you did it because it was like, well, they've got it worse? Like,
Maybe that, but also like an escape, when I'm
yeah.
so engrossed in a book, whether that's a memoir or I'm reading Ina Garten's memoir right now. And it's
Mm-hmm.
really, really good. Yeah, I just kind of that is my escape.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of those people that um I know a lot of people that will like take their book wherever they go. Like they'll be like walking on their treadmill or trying to get a few like spins in on their Peloton bike or going, in their car waiting to pick up their kids from school or whatever. I'm not that person. I read before I go to bed. It is like my wind down Zen moment. I read outside, at lunch if the weather's really nice. But I do think that was and it still is my escape tool.
I wish I was like you. I wish I could cook and read.
I wish I could cook and read. Oh my gosh. That is your Real
Me,
Housewives.
literally, me want to read. I, I reading puts me right to bed. I think I read the first line of The Great Gatsby like 30 times, and I would just fall right asleep because I would try to read before I went to sleep. And I'll never forget, like I was reading for school. I would be reading, and my mom would come in my room. I'd be passed out on Edgar Allan Poe, like on the textbook on the floor. Like it makes me just fall asleep. But I did like go through Matthew Perry's memoir like crazy. So I guess I just have to be really interested. And I loved the BFG. The BFG is a great book.
There are so many great books. And even as I've gotten older, what I'm interested in evolves. I was never a memoir person. And as I've gotten older and more interested in, different people, it's
Hmm.
fascinating to just see, like we've talked about before, like what's going on behind the curtain, right?
Right.
I think Matthew
Yeah.
Perry is a phenomenal example of that, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. And I didn't read his book until after he passed, which was interesting because I had met him. I got the book signed, and I was like, well, I don't want to read this and know, like, because he says, like, he can look at what season of Friends where he was high, where he was drinking too much, what day was this. And I was like, well, I don't want to watch it and know that. But then when he passed, I was like, well, that's such a disservice of him. Like, to not read what he wanted to leave behind. Like this was what he wanted to leave behind in his legacy. And like as a fan, as a human, like I want to read this book now. And I couldn't put it down. And it didn't ruin watching Friends for me. It didn't taint it. Like there was enough space in between. But I still like, I mean, that death hit me, like talk about grief. Like that death hit me hard. Like it was just so strange because there's not a day that goes by where I don't watch Friends. Like I literally like I've done medical treatments. I've done where I've had my iPad with me and I'm just watching Friends the whole time. Like it is what gets me through. So it is weird when it's like parasocial relationships are so strange because you feel like you know this person and then they're just gone.
I feel like it's strange, but also like specifically in your case, Friends has helped you weather so many chapters of your life and so many eras, so to speak. Like it is weird for him to not be here. I think
Right.
that it's a big part of your story, right? And so to have somebody missing from that is weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm trying to like I'm gonna send you a Friends episode that you have to watch. Like you're just gonna have to. You have
How
to.
long?
They're like 22 minutes.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that. For you, I can do that.
Now, when it comes to writing and your journey, like what is next for you?
Oh my
Also,
gosh.
I also wanted to ask, like, because there were parts in this interview where I was like, I hope I'm not only focusing on like grief and that it, like I know that you had said like it's cathartic and like leaning in and sharing the story has become helpful, but I hope I'm not. I guess what I'm trying to say is like I don't want to make you keep reliving this over and
Not at
over
all.
again and like make it be the only thing that you
It's my
have going
entire
on in your life.
personality.
Because well, sometimes it does feel like that for me. Like my whole identity has become my dogs. So it's like And when people don't bring it up, I'm like, do you not realize you like then I get mad, but now I'm like, am I bringing it up too much?
No, no, not at all. And it is cathartic to talk about it. And it's good to be in
Mhm.
good company with somebody who gets it and can relate and doesn't think I'm
Yeah.
weird or emotional or like sobbing. What's next? I would love to be like, hey, I have all these exciting things happening. You're gonna have to like slice this to shit, but like, um, I one thing that is really exciting, and she talked about it already, so I feel confident in talking about it, is I wrote a book with the veterinarian, one of the vet that treated my dogs. And it is My Dog Has Cancer, Now What? And
Oh
it
my
really
God.
goes through, you know, a lot of times when people are sending me messages on Instagram, the one thing that I notice is that it's between the hours of 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. And it
Hmm.
resonates so deeply with me because when my both of my dogs were first diagnosed, I couldn't sleep. I was browsing the internet until 2 in the morning, trying to figure out answers, figure out somewhere where I could ask questions, to talk to somebody who had walked this road, to figuring out what's next, what does it look like, how does this path end? And you know in a lot of cases I was on the same petmd.com page that had the same paragraphs. And, for what it's worth, they're great, but it was very scientific feeling to me. And I wanted to create a resource for people who are going to walk this path, which is an unfortunate reality, right? And so that's one thing that's very exciting, and that's coming down the road.
I I love that. Congratulations. I mean, it's I mean, just thinking about it, like I still don't I'm like I'm still in shock. Like I still have not accepted it that like Maxie had cancer. I'm like, no, she didn't. There's no way. Like she was never supposed to. Like it's so hard. And I think people it's one of those things like you never expect it to happen and you do feel blindsided and you're just like and it's not talked about a lot. Like you were again, I reached out to you. You were the first person I reached out to because you talked about it. And I don't know how I would have survived that if you didn't help me and tell me because Bill had lymphoma and so did Maxie. And it was just like and it was fast and it was awful and I knew some things to expect and questions to ask because of you. So I'm really proud of you for making this book. And I think it will help so many people, like truly.
I am excited about it because I think um, I firmly believe that my dogs weren't just here for me to love them and for them to die.
Mhm.
Their purpose was so much bigger. And there was one thing I really struggled with was, to my point earlier, is a lot of times people say, what's the silver lining? What did you learn? And a lot of the time I'm like, there was nothing I learned. I learned that life is fucking unfair 90% of the time. That's the lesson. Um,
Yeah.
but they were so full of love that if their lives could be meaningful in a way that goes
Mhm.
beyond just to me, that felt super empowering. And so that's sort of how I came up with this idea. And I was talking to my friend, my veterinary oncologist turned friend, and I said, what do you think about
Mhm.
this? And she's like, this is great. And so it kind of just went from there. And I really just hope that it is a resource that I didn't have.
Oh, yeah, I think a lot with grief too is like I don't want their loss to be for nothing. And I say this with my friends who've had parents pass too. It's like, you know, you have to it's so hard to like not say things that would like piss people off. But like for example, with Maxie, people would say she'd want you to be happy, which usually is like, what do you mean? Like when people say that, it's like, but I truly know more than anything, Maxie would want me to be happy because she literally, when I was sad, it devastated her. She would not leave my side. She would look at me if I cried. It stressed her out. So it's like, no, you are right. Maxie would want me to be happy. Like, I agree. And so I do think that, like, you just have to live every day in a way that would make them proud. Because, again, when you're in that sadness, like, you're not able to reach them and you have to honor their life and celebrate them. They're still here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know this sounds very crazy. I still talk to them, both of my dogs, like they're here. Um,
Oh,
I still have
Carl,
Judy.
every day.
You can see it behind me is Judy's bed. I can't, she laid in my office for 10 years with me. I can't
Get
imagine
rid of
moving.
it.
But and it's really funny because we have a dog now. His name is Ted, and I know you know that, but I don't know if people
Yeah,
listen.
yeah, yeah.
Um, he doesn't lay on it. He has no interest in it. It's almost like that's my sister's. That's not for me. I mean,
Mm,
he has more than welcome to lay on it, but he doesn't, which is funny. Um, but yeah, I think there is joy. There is still joy. It exists in even like the smallest moments, and focusing on that is sort of what has carried me, I think.
yeah, yeah. Gosh. I knew today would be a good episode, but man, you got to go back out in that garden in the sunshine.
Oh, I know. I have to like, I put makeup on today because I wasn't sure if this was like, if you recorded my face. And my mascara, I'm like looking in my ring light and it's like down my cheeks. I have to get that tubing mascara that everybody on TikTok is like, I didn't know this tubing mascara did this. And they like wipe their eyes. Are you getting those ads too? Maybe
No.
maybe it's just me on my TikTok, but it's Thrive Cosmetics and they like put it all on and it looks beautiful and great. And then, you know, they go to remove their mascara and they wipe their eye and it literally comes off in like little tubes. I don't know.
That's so weird.
I'm like 2 inches from being influenced to buy it, so I will let you know how it goes.
That's so funny. I was also going to ask you, like, it just came to my mind, like, what keeps you motivated? Because again, I just feel like with gardening and cooking and getting ready, I'm like literally still in my pajamas and like the most cooking I'll do today is like ordering a sandwich from Whole Foods. It's like, what motivates you?
Um, on an before grief like reshaped my DNA.
Hmm.
Success in a professional sense is what motivated me. I was so driven to like get my dream job, pitch new outlets, further my writing career, um, go, 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 go. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, honestly. I don't.
Mm-mm.
I'm a
Mm-mm.
Capricorn, so I'm naturally very like type A, things go my way, professionally driven, all that sort of thing. And navigating grief and loss and depression flipped me on my head. And success to me now looks very different than it did 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
Hmm.
To me, success is right now is like a balanced nervous system.
Right. Yeah.
But one of the tools that I keep in my toolbox, if you will, is something that my therapist taught me when I was trying to literally be able to get up and out of bed. Was she was like, for 30 days, I need you to concentrate on doing one thing every single day that you can successfully check off. She's like, I don't care
Hmm.
what it is. She's like, I don't care if that's you sit outside and journal for an hour, or you walk for 45 minutes, or work out for 45 minutes. But the one thing that I chose was getting up and getting dressed. I don't know why. But it was one thing that I had never done in my life because I've worked from home for years now. And getting dressed just seemed like a waste of clothes. I don't know.
Yeah.
And like it just seemed like laundry. I don't know. But it has transformed how I think about life. I don't know. It's weird
Hmm.
because it getting dressed and getting ready was not part of my story before grief. And it's sort of like
Hmm.
who I am on the other side, and it's new and different. And so I get up every day, I get dressed. I don't always put makeup on. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I always do my skincare, which I'm very proud of. That's another thing I've sort of poured myself into is skincare, but that's another story. Um,
Hmm.
and I it sort of just prepares me for the day. Like when I'm dressed and I feel put together, I'm ready to like tackle my emails and return messages and get things done and check off my list, whether that's a writing piece, whether that's finally getting groceries, whether that's meal prepping, like
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
it just sort of helps me feel pulled together. And, you know, I stay motivated by the fact that this really, really sounds like a home goods sign. So just bear with me for a second. I stay motivated by knowing that every day is the opportunity to find joy again. And,
Hmm.
if you're not looking for happiness, what are you doing?
Right. Right.
So,
I mean, there's two things that I want to add to that because it is kind of like in acting, your wardrobe choice informs your character, your hair informs your character. Like, and you're going to stand differently, you're going to talk differently, you're going to walk differently, you're going to feel differently. So I think that that is so important. And like every day I go to work, I do a full face of makeup, I wear a cute outfit because like if I'm just like lounging it, no makeup, like I'm going to be tired, I'm not going to want to be there. Like, like it's just it changes your entire persona and your attitude. And I had a therapist once tell me, like, get dressed, get ready, get super cute, and then go out for the day and see how different your day is as opposed to like just rolling out of bed and going and doing your errands. And it's so true. And it's like that behavioral therapy that really helps.
sounds crazy. And
Yeah.
trust me, I was not one to ever be like getting up and putting outfits on and, getting
Yeah.
ready. Ready for what? I sit behind a computer all day. No one's looking at me. Like before COVID, Zoom was not a thing. No one turned their camera on,
Right.
not care. And then suddenly COVID happened. Everybody wanted to turn their camera on. I'm like, knock it off. Like, what are
Yeah.
we doing? Like,
Yeah.
but it is really true. And I say that as someone who never, I thought it was like the hokey pokey before. So,
Kate, this has been great. And I'm so happy that we finally did this.
no, I'm sorry. I feel like I was part of the slow version of it because it was like trying to nail down a date and then I couldn't find the questions. And then it was just, so that's on me.
No, I mean, honestly, and I think you get it too. Like when people ask me, like, what's been going on, or like trying to, do you have I'm like, I'm literally just trying to get through the day. Like, you can't ask me to plan something a week ahead of time. Like, I am just trying to get through this day. And when I do, I'll celebrate that. And then I'll do the next day. And if we happen to see each other, then great. So, like, we made it happen. We're both tomorrow we might be crying in bed. Today, we're not. So we took advantage of today.
We did. We did. Oh my gosh, this was wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Where's Ted right now?
Oh, he's out. He's probably sleeping on my couch.
Amazing. Well, and I want everybody to know too, like to follow you, like the outfits that you post, again, the recipes, all your little life hacks. I mean, eventually I'll do one of them.
You have to, you know what? If I have to watch a Friends episode, you have to make dinner. That's
That's
the
not
deal.
equitable. I mean, I'll do it, but I just feel like that's not equitable. My end of the bargain is much harder than yours.
You know what? You don't even have to include meat. Just make something
True.
that's not rice.
Clutching my pearls. The audacity. Not taking my eyes, but not my rice. Oh my gosh. Kate, I adore you. And I'm sure I'll talk to you very soon on one of the many social media platforms we send videos to each other. And thank you so much for doing this and sharing your story and getting vulnerable and everything. I just adore you so much. Thank you.
Feeling is mutual. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Also, we didn't talk about both of our love for Celine Dion, but we can do that separately.
I mean, what's not to love?
I know. She's great. She's great. I love your obsession with her. It makes me so happy.
It's just like she is one person when people are like, okay, who would you go to dinner with, dead or alive? I'm like, easy. Alive, Celine Dion, dead, Frank Sinatra. Next question. Like
Oh,
that, like I
perfect.
just don't have, and it doesn't, no one even else comes to mind. Like, done. I need a harder question, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. No, Celine Dion is great. And also somebody again who's gone through so much and
I
like
mean,
okay, I'm gonna let you go before we keep talking.
I would talk all
Give
day. I'm
I
so
know,
excited.
honestly.
It's been
I know.
wonderful,
Same.
Arctic, and I'm really, really happy. I was so nervous to do this, and I'm happy that I did it.
Oh gosh. Well, it was a great first date. You'll get another one.
Yeah. Yes. And I'll watch your episode.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna send you one right now. And I also feel like you would love Gilmore Girls because Rory is like obsessed with books and reading and becomes a journalist. Like that's her whole career. So I just
Well,
feel
you
like you
just
would
told me.
probably love Rory. I
You
know.
just told me
I
the
need
whole
to.
thing.
What do you mean?
You just told me
I
what
ruined the
what
show for you?
yeah, you just
Yeah,
told
but
me all the whole
you would love it. You would love watching it. There's so many pop culture references that you would just
right.
like, and there's so many book references too. And I've had to Google a lot of them. You won't.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna go let Ted out. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Okay, give Ted a big hug for me. Mwah.
I will. Mwah, mwah. Bye.
Bye.